Hey everybody, what's up? Hope you guys are doing good this afternoon. And out here in the tackle room, sort of getting ready for the Toyota Series tournament up at Lake of the Ozarks. I'm going to start practicing tomorrow for it, and I'll get 2.5 days of practice. Tournament starts on Thursday, so sort of excited about that. Hadn't had a tournament since last November, December. We had our last one, so looking forward to that. Getting up there to Ozarks. Fished up there forever my whole life. It's going to be a big tournament, so hopefully can get something figured out. And I'll keep you guys updated on how that goes all week. But hey, just wanted to take time today, and I'm sort of going to do and address a topic that I've gotten a lot of questions on. I have for a lot of years, and I thought it might be interesting for everybody to sort of know. And that is, what is the reality of sponsorships and making money for professional anglers in the sport? Because I think there's a lot of misconceptions out there about that. So I'm going to clarify them for you, because I've been doing this for 35 years and I'm real familiar with the industry, real familiar with what the reality is of it. So I'm going to share that with you. So first of all, let's go through a little history of it leading up to now. And basically from about the 1970s into the mid 1980s, it was really difficult to make a living as a professional angler. There was a handful of guys out there doing it, guys that had a lot of success, like winning the Bassmaster Classic and that type of stuff. But for the most part, most of the other guys, nobody was making a living out of it, except for just a handful of those guys that were really performing at a top level with a combination of winnings and some, early sponsorships back in the day. And that started to change a little bit in the late 80s and into the early 90s. The sport was getting a little bit bigger. You were getting more television coverage with it. I remember, if you guys ever watched the Bassmasters early on, you remember the TNN, the Bassmasters television show. That attracted more endemic money coming into the sport. And, there were some guys that started picking up some deals. And this is back when I was getting started. And after I won my first tournament in 1989, I was able to get several better deals, like with my boat and motor company, a couple tackle companies, that type of stuff, monthly type retainers from them, free product, that type of stuff. So it started to get a little bit better at that point, but still there wasn't a whole lot of people making a living at it. And the people that even were not making a lot of money doing it. They were just basically, if they were fortunate, they were just paying their bills, not really making much money on top of that. The thing that really switched it around a lot was when FLW came about in 1997. And the golden years for making money in the sport, for sponsorships, that type of stuff, was from about 1998 to 2004. This was a period where FLW, they brought Walmart into the fold, and for the first time, corporate America became a part of professional fishing. And Walmart introduced so many of their corporate vendors in the company to come on board as not only tournament sponsors, but to sponsor a lot of the anglers. Like, for example, myself, I was with Fujifilm, sponsored by them for almost 10 years through FLW as part of that whole deal. There was a lot of other people, like Clark Wendell had Kellogg's, a lot of different top guys out there you've heard about had good deals through FLW. And on top of that, the payouts were bigger than they ever were then. We had 3 tournaments a year where they were paying $250,000 to the winner of the tournament. They were paying $1 million for the Forrest Wood Cup to win it. The entry fees weren't as bad as they are now. So this was like the time when everybody was doing really good. If you were a professional angler from 1998 to 2004, and you had any level of success, like you qualified for championships, if you won a tournament or two, you really had the opportunity to make some decent money as a professional angler at that point. And this lasted up until the mid part of the 2000s, and it slowly started to go back the other direction because Walmart and their vendors, they started to pull away from it a little bit. There wasn't as many team deals. The entry fees started going up a little bit, and the payouts started going down. They took away the $1 million payouts. The $250,000 tournaments went away. At the same time, Bassmaster was struggling. FLW was still sort of at the top of the game as far as making money. But all that came to a screeching halt in 2008. In September of 2008, when we had the big recession crash, every pro out there that I know lost either most of their sponsorship income or at least half of it. If you lost just half of your sponsorship income in 2008 in September, that you were really fortunate, because a lot of people lost everything, and that was a really difficult time for anglers. And what happened as the economy started to grow from about 2012 up until 2009 up until about 2015, the economy made a big, strong comeback. And the problem we had with that is the fishing industry, although they were making a big comeback as well with boat and motor sales, tackle sales, and that type of stuff, once they had cut the pros back, there was not really any reason for them to continue to return to the levels prior to the recession. So what you had after 2008 is you had the entry fees started to go up, the payouts started to go down, and the sponsorships that the anglers got never went up again. They actually went backwards. So after 2009, even though the economy rebounded, it became a lot more difficult to make any money in the sport. Guys were struggling, guys were losing their deals, they were dropping out. Tournament organizations were struggling, Bassmaster was struggling, FLW was struggling. Everybody had a hard time. So what had happened since then is like it slowly started getting a little bit better in the sense that social media came on the scene. Prior to like 2008, you didn't have any social media avenues for professional anglers to market themselves through. The entire spectrum of being successful as a pro angler was your ability to perform at a high level in tournaments, and if you could do any type of speaking engagements at seminars. There wasn't the social media that we have right now. But what has happened, particularly over the last 5 years, there's been a huge shift and a huge metamorphosis in the sport to where now tournament performance is not the measure of how valuable an angler is to a company. The value an angler has to a company comes in two different forms. It comes in social media presence, and it comes in your wrap, boat, and truck. Here's an example. For example, if you have a wrap, boat, and truck, say, I don't care what it is, you could have McDonald's on it or whatever like that. If you drive 1,000 miles one way to a tournament, you're literally passing or being passed by millions of vehicles. So you have the potential impression generation for a company, their brand name, to millions of people just by driving. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter if you're a Bassmasters Classic winner or if you're some dude that says never even made a cast before. You're still going to generate those impressions from driving the boat and truck because they're retainable impressions. They're not impressions that come from like a billboard or something that sticks in people's mind. At the same time, if you won a tournament, if you won the Bassmasters Classic even, there's no way that you're going to get that many brand impressions for a company's name just by winning that tournament. It's just not going to happen. So what has happened is the tournament performance now takes a back seat to impressions and social media. Social media in terms of Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, whatever, you simply have a much broader reach to the audience to help expose a product to it. So from that standpoint, the reality of sponsorships in fishing right now is completely changed. It's not the same. That's why you have so many anglers out there now that are making good livings through their social media avenues that don't even fish tournaments, or they're not very good in tournaments, and the vice versa. So it's really it's an odd situation compared to what it was, 30 years ago. But a couple of different things on there. There's one way you have to sort of look at it as a positive. Even though the reality of sponsorships are changing, the fact that the wrap situation, wrap boat and trucks, and social media, that gives more anglers an opportunity to make a living through their creative approach. And that's the way you have to do it, because right now there's so many tournaments out there. There's National Fishing League, MLF, Bassmaster Open, Toyota Series, all your AAA stuff. I can't even keep up with them. There's so many tournaments. I don't even know who does what on MLF. I don't even know what tournaments they fish. So you can't hardly stand out as a tournament angler today. Back when I started in the late 80s, all you had was the Bassmaster Top 100s. It was easy to stand out. There was 100 pros in the tournament. Those 100 pros defined professional fishing. If you did good, you stood out. But now there's so many tournaments that everybody gets watered down in a sea of tournament anglers. And that's why tournament winning and doing good in tournaments is not that, it's not that big of a deal as what it used to be. But on the flip side of that is, like I said, the creativity that comes through social media, and just by selling wraps and driving the rig to a tournament. Those are ways that anglers are, that's the reality of the sport today. That's how anglers are generating a lot of their income. For most anglers out there, tournament winnings are just supplemental, because you cannot make a living from your tournament winnings. The payouts are way too high. The payouts are pathetic. The professional fishing's always had bad payouts. I mean, compared to other sports, compared to the fact that we're a multi-billion-dollar-a-year business, our payouts in the tournaments compared to golf, tennis, and that type of stuff are just pathetic. They always have been. So as expensive as it is for anglers to enter tournaments and fish tournaments, and as bad as the payouts are, tournaments are really a money pit for the most part. They really are. There's a handful of guys that maybe win championships or win one or two tournaments that maybe come out a little bit ahead. But if you win a tournament, say you win one tournament a year and you win $100,000, you're still not going to make any money. By the time that you pay your tournament entries, your expenses, your home mortgage, all your utility bills, there's not anything left over. That is why anglers, the reality of the sponsorship situation is you have got to partner with some companies that can supplement that, to where a tournament winnings, just become a bonus. And obviously, if you do good in tournaments, you can have a little bit of a windfall profit if you have the sponsorships to back it up. But basically, that's sort of the reality of it. That's the way it's been. Professional fishing is not a way for you to get rich. I can tell you that right now. But you don't get into it. If you get into fishing to try to make money and gain fame, you're in it for the wrong reason. People that fish professionally, most of them anyway, they do it because it's a passion and they love it more than anything else. It makes them feel alive. I've been fortunate enough to be able to do it for over 35 years. I haven't gotten rich doing it, but, I've been able to live my dream. I've been able to pay my bills. And I think if people can do that, I think a lot of people are satisfied with that. So anyway, just wanted to go over that a little bit, sort of give you guys sort of an overview of what it's like out here on the circuit, financial wise. Like I said, it's something that's probably misconstrued, because there's not many people out there making very much money in the sport. The only people that are really making a killing in the sport, as far as making a lot of money, are the people that either have really gigantic, massive social media followings, or it's the anglers that have some type of a royalty deal with the company. Because if you have a royalty deal with a company where your baits or your products are being sold in a major retailer, the sheer volume of numbers that you deal with that can allow those anglers to make some good money. But most people out there, like I said, they're just struggling to get by, and just doing what they can to stay out there on the water. So anyway, that's the situation. That's the reality of it. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Hope it shed some light with you. And thanks for tuning in again. And we'll be back soon with another one. See y'all later.